Obviously, you said Mr. Rooney did talk about that, man. That was earlier today, where he basically said that, yeah, they want the option to be in-house. They prefer it to be either Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, but he doesn't feel like it's going to be both guys coming back next year, largely because he doesn't think that either one of those guys want to share being the starter. He thinks both of those guys view themselves as starters, as QB1. And if you truly are that, you can't share that role here. You have to go have your own squad, man, in order to be the guy. But both of these dudes, in terms of the way that the Steelers view them, based off what Coach Tomlin has said, and obviously what Mr. Rooney has said, they think both of these guys are legitimate, which is kind of contrary to what fans have said about both of them dudes. Like, you either got the 100% Russ crowd or the 100% Fields crowd. But
I'm not saying Russ can't play. I think we can win games with Russ again next year. It's just, what are we doing, though?
We'll be winning games with him.
Yeah, but I'm not cool with just winning. I think we got to get back into legit contention status.
That's the whole purpose of it.
I think Russ, you got the ceiling. You know where it's at. You're not getting over the hump with him. Like you can win. I'm not saying he's completely over the hill or he can't play. He can't be successful in the league anymore. But to the degree where we want to get to, I don't think he's the answer.
Okay. Trust me, there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I kind of said what I said, because I know people for certain that have the exact same approach, but to Russ, and they look at Fields as that's a lost cause. Why are we even entertaining it? Because they feel like kind of what I forgot whose comment it was. They said basically, you've seen it for how many years now? At what point do you say it is what it is? Like, the potential is only the potential for so long, and that was one of the things we joke about internally in the league. It's like potential will get you fired. Because a coach would keep talking about potential, and it's like, man, that dude never develops. He never produces. There's no production behind it. It's just potential. Man, now we hollering about this coach can't develop this guy. This coach don't know what he's doing. It's like, no, that just means this player isn't as good as everybody thought he was going to be. It takes two coaches getting got before, they turn on the player typically. But that's why it's like I can definitely see the other side of it where people aren't as optimistic that Phil's going to develop because – what are the odds? The odds are saying that it's more than likely he doesn't develop into those guys that we've named the Hurts of the world, the Lamar Jacksons of the world and company. Then it's likely that he would develop into that. Just like I said, based off of the history of the NFL and specifically dual threat quarterbacks in the NFL.
Now, if that doesn't happen, or let's just say it's the extreme of the negative. If that's what happens with Fields and it just completely flames out, we go down the tubes. Then it's almost just like good because now
the
it's
consumer
now
is
it's like
good.
We got this top 10 pick, we got this top 5 pick to try to get the franchise quarterback.
For the consumer, that's good. For Mr. Rudy and Coach T, they don't view that as good. They view that as bad.
But here's the other thing though. I mean, realistically, is that happening with if you had to put money on it, we start Justin Fields next year. Are we going 5-12 or 6-11? I think we at least go 9-8.
Well, that's because you know who the head man is.
So I don't think there is this huge great risk of starting Fields next year. But you have all the upside.
Once again, I get what you're saying. I definitely do. They the dudes that see him every day. So it's like if they're watching him every single day, they're watching both of these every single day, and even they aren't all the. We just watch the games. We don't watch every single practice. We're not watching every single rep. That's what they do. So I'm like, if they're seeing every single thing that happens, even stuff behind closed doors, and they do all the upside stuff that me and you were talking about right now, it's like clearly there is something that is making them hold off on both of them dudes, but it's also something that's making them be interested and intrigued in both of those dudes. So like clearly they feel like both of them dudes are like that to some capacity. I just feel like when we talk about it,
that's
we talk about it, it's like we like crushing one person.
The action is going to speak louder than the words.
Absolutely,
I think that's what it's going to come down to. Yeah. Let's see who you pick. Let's see what side you are really leaning here.
But think about it like this: they've already told you that either one of them dudes can come back. Outside of a $40 million deal one way or the other, I don't think it's anything crazy. I think if we saw Fields back for 10, I don't think that's an indictment on Russ. If Russ came back for 15, I don't think it's an indictment on Fields. I just think we don't know the numbers. The numbers are going to tell us a lot. We feel like Russ' number is definitely supposed to be larger than Fields, but that's the part that we feel more optimistic about Fields is because it's cheaper. Or not the only reason, but that's a part of the reason.
Maybe Russ goes to the Raiders.
I think you see Pete Carroll over there?
I was going to say, I think that's the better fit. I think that's Raiders are looking for some stability. They obviously, I think, value that in their hire of Pete Carroll. So, you could go take a Russ over there, have him be the mentor to one of these rookie quarterbacks. Maybe you draft in the first or second round. Get the train back on the tracks as an organization. I think that's a good fit for him. I think that's the
maybe
fit.
Pete Carroll wants the young guy. Maybe Pete Carroll wants him.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't
Because
want that.
Coach Tomlin for certain is
No.
like, he likes what he has in the veteran guy, but I'm sure he's very intrigued by the upside of the young athlete.
No, we have stability
Yeah.
here. We have the consistent. We're
constant is
at a
Coach T,
different.
though.
We're at a different spot than the
Coach
Raiders.
T is the constant,
We're trying to get over the
and
hump,
he's
not
saying
just
that
stay
this
consistent.
if Coach T is the constant, and he's saying, hey, that's the guy that I feel gets me over the hump. Who the heck gets to say no to that one? You feel what
Maybe
I mean?
Rooney.
Maybe, but it's like if that's
definitely Rooney. Right.
Right.
He
Yeah,
could be the
of
one that
course.
overrides everything. If he wants Fields, it's going to be Fields.
1,000%. But it's like, you ever heard how Mr. Rooney spoke on Coach T? He said, man, the reason why I'm not moving on from him is because this is a good coach, and it's a proven that he's a good coach. He's a winner in this league, and those dudes are hard to come by. Hence the reason why you don't move on from him. He's like, you look around the league, teams that are constantly moving on from coaches are trying to find guys that are proven, guys that understand it. And he said, I also talked to the guys in the locker room. I talked to this team to see, has the message gone stale? He doesn't feel like it's gone stale, but when he talks to the players, even they communicate back that they don't feel like the message is gone stale. So it's like, all right, we see how he believes in Coach T. So if Coach T is like, that's my guy, how do we say no to that one? Because we obviously know that was the whole reason why the switch even happened in the first place. Remember, Coach T said, I said that I want to Russ out there. I said that this is a me league, so if it doesn't work, it falls back on me. If he's taking that approach, then what stops him if he feels like, Russ with a full offseason, Russ with an extra talented this or this over here, I can get everything I want. If he feels like that, just think that it's going to be a hard,
Rooney might feel different too, though.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
With how the season ended and everything. Whereas in the moment, middle of the season, he had more, I guess, hands-off approach with that decision of saying, like, I'm just going to trust you, Coach T, on this.
Yeah.
Make the decision. We'll live or die with it. But then with how the season ended, maybe he wants to have more hands-on and say, I prefer going with Fields because this is more. I want to find out the answer for the future.
Does Mr. Rooney strike you as a Jerry Jones owner?
I don't know what's going on
Does
behind the
he
scenes.
strike you as a
know.
Jerry Jones type Deke? I don't think Mr. Rooney is going to get me that. I don't think he does that, bro.
I don't know.
I think this is his version of the Jerry Jones. When he does his end of the year press conference,
We don't know
he
for sure
basically
what
says,
Tomlin's thinking, though, too.
This is also true because he was the coach during that process, and he looked at that same tape and said, yeah, this wasn't good enough, and there were multiple factors, but quarterback was still a
He's
big
the one
reason.
that's throwing Fields out there in these packages.
Yeah. So all of it goes together. I'm like, Coach Tomlin definitely is intrigued by Justin Fields. I don't think that's a debate.
No.
We would all agree, he's intrigued by him. That's why he kept using him. And even in closeout situations, we would bring him in certain instances. We know Arthur Smith has a little bit more of an affinity towards that style of player. Not saying that that's a indictment on Russ and Arthur Smith, because it was like, man, have y'all heard of Big Ben and Todd Haley? It wasn't sunshine and rainbows, but that was one of the most effective pairings that them dudes had in terms of their professional status. So with all of that, it's they work, man. A Fields could work, but a Russ could work.
See what they do.
We're going to see, man. We're going to see. But shout out to Mr. Rooney, man.